I ask the member for Burnaby Low-Heat.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I am happy to rise this morning on behalf of Burnaby Low-Heat in response to the private member statement, and I would like to thank the member for Maple Ridge Pitt Meadows for his tribute to the Asian Heritage Month. And for many of us British Columbians, working our chopsticks, bobbing along to Bhangra, drinking bubble tea, and watching the latest Korean soap operas are our usual way of life. So it turns out that in 2001, Canada made the month of May the Asian Heritage Month for us to indulge in doing more of exactly that, but also to celebrate the long and rich history of Asian Canadians dating back to the 1700s and honor their incredible contributions to our country ever since. In British Columbia, the Vancouver Asian Heritage Month Society has developed a broad and inclusive definition of Asian, from Sri Lankans to Singaporeans, promoting the public understanding of Asian arts, culture, and history, and also creating synergy and collaboration in our communities. The Society's 8th annual Explore Asian Festival kicked off this year on April 16th and will conclude with a recognition gala on June 11th with an array of workshops, lectures, exhibits, concerts, and so much more in between throughout the month of May all across Greater Vancouver, and I invite all members to take in their share of fun. Now, such event wouldn't come without the hard work of many caring supporters in our communities who opened their wallets, donated their expertise, and offered their time so generously. So I join all the members of this House in applauding everyone involved for what is unfolding to be definitely another year of incredibly successful festivities. And Mr. Speaker, diversity we are all so proud to call our own that defines what being a Canadian is apparent in our communities, in our streets, in the workplaces, at the parks. We see people of all walks of life. After all, we are a province of 1.2 million visible minorities that make up a quarter of our population, with another 42,000 newcomers joining us every year from around the globe, choosing British Columbia to call home and bringing with them their investments and their talents. And that's why I believe it's important for us to take this time to note again that despite our widely celebrated diversity today, minority representation in the political and leadership arena are still far from where it should be and where it can be. And the fact cannot be more apparent in our current makeup of the government ministries, agencies, appointed boards, and even in this chamber. So let us remember that it wasn't centuries ago, but just 1 or 2 generations ago in my parents' and grandparents' time that we saw legislations that we wouldn't believe existed in Canada. Ones that excluded minorities from voting, ones that imposed and increased the restrictive head tax on Chinese immigrants, rules like the prohibition of minority businesses from hiring white women, rules like the right of a theater owner to refuse to allow black persons to sit in the orchestra seats, or like the right of restaurants to refuse to serve colored people. Rules like the elderly, quote-unquote, Oriental persons to be denied access to provincial homes for the aged. So it really was the generations of faceless, nameless, unsung heroes, some of whom are living legacies in this very chamber, that I have the privilege of calling my colleagues, like the members for Burnaby Edmonds and Surrey Newton, who fought for and changed the landscape. And it also took political will like the commitment of the New Democrats to engage and empower communities for minority representation that came to fruit with the first Black woman MLA, Rosemary Brown, first Indo-Canadian MLA, Mo Sahoda, first MLA of Chinese descent, Jenny Kwan, first openly gay MLA, Tim Steveston, first MLA of Filipino descent, member for Vancouver Kensington, and of course, myself as one of the Korean heritage. So, Mr. Speaker, every time I rise in the House, it is in remembrance and in gratitude for all the work and sacrifice paid forward by generations that made reality today for someone like me as a young Asian immigrant woman to have a seat in this chamber when such wasn't thinkable even just a few decades ago. So beyond the fanfares of the festivities that surround us in May, the month of Asian Heritage, I look to the House to continue the good fight for the kind of mosaic landscape in this chamber that represent all people of British Columbia. Thank you.
Thank you, Member.